Say fella, what's your number? No, it's not a pickup line. What's your number for retirement? Today we discuss how much do you need to retire. Then we learn how to align your money with your values through socially responsible investing. And discover the secret to getting the best GIC rates. All this and more today on The Wealthy Life. How much money do you think you need to retire?
Ooh, depends on my lifestyle. I would say nowadays, probably a couple million at least.
In today's time, I'd say, depending on when you retire, over $1 million. Over $1 million.
I haven't thought about it that much yet. I should, but I haven't yet.
I have absolutely no idea. I really couldn't even give you a figure around the 1 million or half a million.
I would say between 1.5 and 2 million.
Thinking of retiring soon? What's your number? For retirement, that is. Today's guest is Stan Waterman, a viewer of The Wealthy Life, here to ask his financial question and learn how much money he needs to retire. Stan, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Sybil. It's nice to be here.
Well, tell me your story.
Well, born and raised on Vancouver Island and absolutely love it. Worked for a local grocery store for about 28 years and it's been just fantastic. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering about, when is that number really clear to me and I feel really confident in that number. I still have some questions about it.
Well, we're going to get to that. Tell me a little bit more about working in the grocery business. I take it you never go without food on your table?
Yeah, true enough. So it's very innovative. There's lots of changes always happening. It's done great for me and the family. We've definitely had the opportunities to see parts of the world, which have been fantastic. And
through the grocery business?
Yeah.
How does that come to be?
Well, there's been some perks in working as a produce manager. We were able to go down to Montreal and see some different places and just see different growers and suppliers.
Do you get to go to Florida and pick oranges?
I haven't been to Florida, but some of the crew definitely go there. The procurement team definitely makes some trips like that in Australia and all sorts of places.
Wow, it sounds like a very rewarding career.
It's very, very fun.
But all good things must come to an end.
Yes, so they say. So I'm 53 at the moment and I'm looking ahead. I've been planning for quite some time and I'm hoping to sort of semi-retire at 55-ish.
I think semi is a good idea. A lot of people go right from working full tilt to just retiring. They don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, that's
what are you going to do in retirement? What does that look like for you?
Well, good question. Full retirement will be at 60, and that will be, maybe volunteering, doing some traveling, definitely enjoying more time with the family and friends and that kind of stuff.
So I take it you have kids?
Yes.
And are your kids grown up? Have they gone through university?
Yes, one's at university, another one's moved out, so they're definitely on their path. So they're doing fine, yeah. So
does that mean you don't have to fund any more expenses associated with your kids in the future?
Possibly.
Yes.
Possibly. We're hoping for grants and those sort of things. So, but there's definitely a contingency plan there. So.
How about grandkids?
Yes.
You have some of those?
We have a grandchild, yes.
Oh, how exciting.
Yes, it's great.
And is it important to you to plan ahead for funding anything to do with your grandchild and other grandchildren that may come?
Yes, absolutely, and that's already in the works.
Oh, really? Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we've set up an account for her to put into an RSP when we get there and that kind of stuff.
Oh, great. I am so happy to hear that because the power of compounding will work in their favor. And if you could start putting some money aside when they're really little, like born, they'll be set for life.
Yes.
It's a good habit.
Yes, absolutely.
So Stan, what's your big question for me today?
Well, it's really about how much is enough for retirement.
Well, Stan, that's a great question to ask because everyone wants to know what their number is. So don't go away. Find out Stan's magic number for retirement when we return.
The Wealthy Life is brought to you by investment dealer Raymond James. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Welcome back. We're here with Stan Waterman to find out how much money he needs to retire. Stan, this is an exciting time in your life. You're getting ready to semi-retire before you retire. I want to hear a little bit more about what you really plan on doing in retirement. What are your hobbies now?
Well, love to ski and snowshoe at the local mountain, Mount Washington.
Fun.
Yes, so me and the brothers go up there twice a year to do some of that. I enjoy staying fit, so exercising. We have an exercise bike downstairs in the basement, so grind away on that.
Well, you may actually get to ride a bike outside now. You'd have time.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yes, yes.
And you might ski more than twice a year.
That would be nice. That would be nice. Just have to convince the other people to come along. So.
Now, the thing about skiing, it costs money.
Sure does.
Snowshoeing, not so much, though.
Nope, that's very reasonable.
Riding your bike, not so much.
Not so much. That's right. Yeah.
Well, this sounds like a fun retirement. What have you done so far to save to fund your retirement income?
Right, so RSPs, TFSAs, our company has a pension plan, which is definitely nice.
Oh, great.
Of course, CPP and OAS, as well as I have a retirement property, or income property, sorry.
Oh, great. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's half a duplex, and it's right around the corner from our house, which is very handy for little repairs and stuff like that.
How do you like being a landlord?
It's been over 10 years, so I'm growing a little weary.
Yes.
It's definitely takes up a lot of spare time, but you know, it's worthwhile as an investment. So for that part, I certainly enjoy it.
So if you could visualize in retirement, you're not working, so you have more time available. Will you enjoy being a landlord more, or do you think it will tie you down and get in your way?
I think I would probably enjoy it more, so I wouldn't stress so much about trying to get repairs done and things organized.
Okay.
I think that it's been a great property for me, and I've had a wonderful tenant for many years, and that's made it a lot more easy to deal with.
So I'm going to wave my magic wand and pretend you're retired tomorrow. How much money do you need a month to live?
Well, great question. I would say $1,000 a week take home.
Okay.
So $52,000 a year would be my ballpark. It could be less, could be more.
Yes.
It all depends on what kind of traveling we would like to do and that sort of thing.
Well, you've got a head start on some of that, but I'm assuming you might have a little bit of a gap.
True.
Have you done the math yet? Does your pension, CPP, and old age security meet that $1,000 a week?
It doesn't, but the plan, I had a plan created for me in 2012, and as time goes past, you know, I think the plan needs to be relooked at, and thus why I'm here.
You know what? The plan needs to be looked at least once a year. Because things change. There's inflation, there's new hobbies you didn't know you were going to do. Things cost money, and easy come, easy go for sure.
Yes.
Well, I've got a simple answer for you in terms of how much money you need based on every $1,000 of monthly income you want. And that way I won't go into all your personal information on national television.
Sure.
But essentially, if you want your money to last 40 years, which you may if you're 55 or 60 when you want to start withdrawing some money or start to retire. Right. And if you live to 95 or 100, and I know that sounds crazy, but you might live to 102. And you don't want to run out of money, I assume.
No.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
And so you also want to give yourself a raise every year to keep up with inflation.
True.
So essentially, assuming you want your money to last 40 years, give yourself a 3% raise every year. If you can earn an average rate of return on your portfolio of 5% per year,
right,
which is a balanced portfolio. It's not guaranteed, it's not low risk, it's not high risk, it's a combination middle of the road, then for every $1,000 of monthly income you need, you should have $325,000 saved.
Wow.
Sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
So if you want $4,000 a month, you're going to need about $1.3 million.
Wow, okay.
Now, you do have CPP, old age security, and some of those other things to keep you covered. So I think maybe just $1,000 a month, $325,000 should probably cover you.
Perfect. That's great.
So you better start working hard and saving a little bit more money.
Yes, I think that's right, but thank you very much.
And for those of you watching, if you want to know what your number is and make sure you're ready for retirement, contact us at thewealthylife.com for your free financial planning workbook. Stan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, sir.
And stay tuned. Up next, we'll learn how to align your money with your values.
The Wealthy Life is brought to you by investment dealer Raymond James. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could align your money with your values? With us today is Frank Arnold and Mike Higgins, financial advisors specializing in socially responsible investing. Welcome to the show today, Mike, Frank. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
So Frank, I'm going to start with you. Tell me how you got interested in socially responsible investing. What's your background?
Well, from an early age, I always had an interest in nature and the outdoors. I grew up here on the West Coast, and so much so to the point where I actually did one of my majors at University of Victoria in environmental studies.
Oh, great.
But I also was always a good saver early on. Back in the 80s, when I was growing up, interest rates were a lot higher, so I used to bank all my birthday money and Christmas money.
Oh, and you could make good money back then.
Magically, I'd see this interest show up in there that looked, it was near 10% a year at that point. So it was.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could get 10% guaranteed now?
Oh, it'd be wonderful, yeah. So it was great. I was always naturally a saver. My sister was naturally the spender, so she'd raid my piggy bank when I wasn't looking. But
oh, so you had to open a bank account to keep it away from her.
Exactly, yeah.
Smart man. Mike, how about you? What's your background?
I grew up on the West Coast as well. I knew pretty early on that I wanted to be in the financial services business. I had an uncle who was involved in that business, who was kind of a mentor to me. I always looked up to, so in high school I kind of knew what I wanted to do. Went to university, attended University of Royal Roads, where there's sustainability is a big component of what they do there.
Oh, really? So they combined the two together right at that stage?
Yeah, so commerce and sustainability is a major tenet at that university, so that's how I kind of got interested in the business.
Great. So what is socially responsible investing? Mike?
Socially responsible investing really is about incorporating environmental, social, and governance criteria into your investment decision-making process. Sometimes it's called ethical investing, sometimes it's called green investing, impact investing, or more recently even just responsible investing. They all really mean the same thing though, and it's incorporating those sort of non-traditional factors into your investment analysis.
And Frank, how does that differ from regular investing?
Well, social responsible investing is still investing, so in many ways it doesn't actually differ. You still do all of the, or you should still do all of the regular things that go into investment selection, like getting the right mix of assets. So how much should you have in stocks or bonds or other kinds of investments? How much should you have in Canada versus outside of Canada? And then you also want to pick good companies that generally will pay good dividends and be there for you in the future. But then you go an extra step further. What you do is you analyze, as Mike says, the social and the environmental, and then this other thing called governance, which is how companies are governed. What's the board like? Is it well diversified, for example? Are women on the board? Are minorities represented? This kind of thing.
What are some bad examples? I mean, there's some companies out there that really aren't socially responsible and maybe would engage in activities that people wouldn't want to support. What would some of those things be?
It certainly used to be more of a sort of a negative, exclusionary type of way of investing, and today it's sort of shifted to be a little bit more positive, looking at companies that are really sort of leaders within their industry, so more progressive, looking at things like their environmental impact, their water usage on the environmental side. On the social side, it's your labor relations, how you interact with the communities that you work in, and then as Frank mentioned, some of the governance factors, so diversity, gender equality, and basically looking for companies that are taking a leadership approach, more so than just saying, well, we're not going to invest in these certain subset of companies.
So to me, that just makes common sense. I think if a company is doing all those things and doing it well, they should perform better over time. But I think there was this old myth, and maybe you guys can dispel this myth, that ethical investments underperformed regular investments. Is that true or false?
No, I'd say that's definitely false, because there's been lots of studies that have looked at this both in the U.S. and Canada and overseas. Historically, companies that score well on these metrics of environmental, social, and governance factors, they actually do at least as well as companies that don't score as well. And in many ways, it makes sense. If you have companies that are going to be more prone to boycotts, by lawsuits, by government fines, government regulation that's more stringent than their better performing peers,
their stock price might tank.
They're just naturally not going to perform as well as a company.
Nobody wants headline news that's negative. And I know there is the saying, news is news. There's no such thing as bad news, right? But that's not true when you're a company that is concerned about share price and performance and delivering value back to the shareholder. Mm-hmm. I also have read some great studies that show those organizations that have a minimum 25% females in a senior leadership role and or on their board of directors actually outperform on the bottom line. So that's just, again, one little piece that all contributes to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, it's about headline risk and making sure you're avoiding it. And that's largely why you've seen a really significant increase in the amount of money that's invested under environmental, social, and governance mandates, especially in pension plans. Because pension plans are looking at this from a risk mitigation standpoint and saying, look, we're not necessarily concerned that the performance is, we know that the performance is at least as good, but maybe we can mitigate some risks that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So now in Canada, you've got roughly $1 out of $3 that's invested in Canada under socially responsible or under environmental, social, and governance mandates.
Well, and it makes the world a better place. I think if everyone just took that extra time to do that extra step, it's just an extra layer of due diligence, then they can put their money where their mouth is and actually reap the rewards from an investor perspective as well. And I understand you've brought a giveaway for our viewers today. Thank you very much. We love freebies. Mike, why don't you tell us what this is about?
Sure. This is the Corporate Knights Global 100 issue, which ranks the top 100 companies globally based on environmental, social, and governance criteria.
Great. So in here will be the top companies based on everything we talked about today?
Yes.
Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thanks, Sybil.
Thanks for having us.
If you would like your copy of Corporate Knights, please contact us at thewealthylife.com. And don't go away, because when we return, discover how to get the best GIC rates. Welcome back. Thanks for your letters, emails, tweets, and messages. Today's question is from Lincoln in Ottawa. Dear Sybil, my wife and I have some money from an inheritance and are just rolling it around in a GIC. We are still a couple of years away from retirement, but want to ensure we will have enough income to support our lifestyle and children. We've decided not to touch any of the money right now and would like to know how to get the best rate of return with minimal risks. Many thanks, Lincoln. Lincoln, thanks for your letter. It's exciting to start planning for retirement, and I'm also encouraged to hear that you are trying to plan for your children as well. Now, I know how to get you a guaranteed rate of return of 10% or better on your money in a GIC. All you have to do is figure out how to build a time machine and go back to the 80s. I'm sorry to say, of course, that's not possible. But parking your money in the short term where it's safe until you decide what to do is a very smart idea. There's many high-rate savings accounts out there that you can just temporarily put your money in until you decide what to do. Now, a couple of tips. Financial institutions generally give their VIP customers a slightly higher rate of interest on their GICs. And to get VIP status, most of them require you to have all of your money and your investments and your mortgages with that financial institution. Now there is another option, and quite often this second option gives you even higher rates on GICs, and that's to go through a full-service brokerage arm. When you deal with a full-service financial advisor at a brokerage firm, they can access GIC rates from all the different financial institutions. And often that GIC rate is higher than the posted rate at the bank they're buying it through. So for example, a financial advisor may buy you a Royal Bank or a CIBC GIC themselves at a higher rate than those banks may offer you. You're going to want to ask about CDIC insurance as well, which you're only insured up to $100,000 per issuer. So if you split your money over multiple issuers, you will get better insurance. Now, all that's fine and dandy for getting the best GIC rate, but I would strongly recommend you sit down with a financial advisor to make sure that a GIC is going to meet your long-term needs. You're talking about a long retirement period and helping your kids. GIC rates won't keep up with taxes and inflation, and unless you have a very large amount of money, it may not meet your needs. But good to park it there in the short term for now. To give you a quick example, if you had $1 million inheritance, at 2%, it's going to generate $20,000 a year, versus if you could invest it at 5%, that would be $50,000 a year. That's a pretty significant change. And that wraps up this edition of The Wealthy Life, helping Canadians make smart financial decisions. Go to thewealthylife.com to become a member and receive free exclusive access to Wealthy Life workbooks, calculators, articles, and more to help you make the most out of what you have.